All right, fan, welcome right now to the KUTV Primetime News on this 25th day of July 2022. A lot has been happening in the country, and we are here to inform you. Thank you for choosing KUTV to be your informer tonight. But first, let's begin officially. Alright, my name is EMMANUEL KUTOSI, and in the sign language interpretation we'll be joined by Sharon Wamboy. We're also streaming this bulletin live on our YouTube page at KUTV Kenya and also on KUTV Kenya on Facebook. Now we begin with our first report where His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta joined stakeholders at Uhuru Gardens in Nairobi County for a media orientation and tour of the newly redeveloped National Monument and Museum. The orientation exercise was aimed at involving mass media as a key stakeholder in creating public awareness and disseminating information on Kenya's history and rich cultural heritage that show at the Garden Museum.
I do believe that once this place is fully operational, it will host many thousands of visitors. It will help us identify our Kenyanness. It will help us identify our diversity, because we are diverse. But that's a beautiful thing also. It will help us be able to celebrate each other's cultures. It will help us be able to understand our different cultures a little bit more, and hopefully understand that it is a mix of all of these things that makes us Kenyan.
Now, only 14 days remain to the general polls, and the Azimio presidential candidate Raila Amolo Odinga received an endorsement or repute from the Boda Boda Association of Kenya. Their chairperson, Kevin Mudavadi, showed up in large numbers at the Nyayo Stadium tonight. Check out this report.
Boda Boda Association of Kenya has endorsed Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga following a meeting held at Nyayo National Stadium. The association, led by their chairperson Kevin Mudavadi, showed up in masses to stamp their allegiance to Raila's candidature. BAK chairman Kevin Mudavadi noted the huge support Odinga has from the Boda Boda group and how willing they are to rally behind him in the August polls. Mudavadi, however, addressed several challenges that the Boda Boda people pass through on a daily, including high cost of loans imposed on them, calling upon the presidential hopeful to look into these matters should he win the top seat.
Loan ya pikipiki ya 1,150 saa hii watu wanalipa karibu 1,300, sio kweli? Mnalipa 1,300 kwa pikipiki 1,150. Baba, hiyo ni 2 times price ya pikipiki. Baba, sisi tuko tayari kureform, lakini county government ya Nairobi na askari wake hawataki hawa vijana wa reform.
Political leaders present, including Nairobi senatorial aspirant Edwin Sifuna, echoed the issues brought up by the BAK chairman, highlighting the efforts they have put in the city to help the association through these challenges. In response to their concerns, Odinga promised to establish a system that reforms the police force to a police service within his first 100 days in office. He also added that all Boda Bodas taken hostage by police to stations will be released.
100 days of Baba's government. Yale reforms zote tutafanya. That reforming of the police service, police force, police service will take 100 days.
With only 14 days remaining to the general elections, this endorsement comes just in time before the Kenyans head out to cast their votes. This association hopes that should Azimio clinch power, their needs will be met. Kanana Kithinji, KUTV.
Thank you, Kanana, for that report. And elsewhere, the Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Amolo Odinga assured Muslims that their welfare will be considered in the next government should he form government. The Azimio leader who met with Muslims Union leaders in Nairobi defended the current constitution, saying it created the Kadhi Court, which is one of consideration.
It's only a fortnight to the August 9 polls, and presidential candidates are still on tours wooing voters before the sands of time run out. The Azimio coalition took to the city as they held a meeting with the women from the Muslim community.
The Muslims, the Christians, the Hindus, they are all Kenyans. And the right of each and every Kenyan shall be protected and respected, not just by the Constitution, but by the government of Azimio la Umoja in Kenya.
Odinga promised to ensure that Muslim women have access to equal opportunities for the country's leadership issues, assuring them that they will be protected in line with the rights of everyone, according to the country's constitution in Article 24, Clause 4, that says, and I quote, "Equality shall be qualified to the extent strictly necessary for the application of Muslim law before the Qadhi's courts to persons who profess the Muslim religion in matters relating to personal status, marriage, divorce and inheritance." End of quote.
Sisi tulipokuwa tunapigania makatiba mpya, kuna wengine walikuwa napinga katiba hiyo ati kwa sababu inahalalisha Qadhi's Court, mahakama ya kadhi. Wengine walipinga that because having a Qadhi's Court in the constitution is discriminating against Christians. But we say that Qadhi's Court has always been in the constitution. It has never harmed any Christians.
Over the last few weeks, Odinga has moved to consolidate his strongholds all over the country as the race to State House continues with only 14 days left. Mwaka Samuel, KUTV.
And as that was playing out, Deputy President William Samoei Ruto promised jobs for the youth while campaigning in Rift Valley, while his running mate Rigathi Gachagua traversed Embu County in a quest to garner more votes. The two leaders have promised that their government will prioritize on job creation in their plan to curb youth unemployment epidemic in the country.
For a second day in a row, Deputy President William Ruto continued with his Rift Valley region tour, today camping in Nandi, Uasin Gishu, West Pokot and Elgeyo Marakwet counties, where he popularized his State House bid. While addressing residents in various towns in the region, the DP noted that the Kenya Kwanza Alliance has already established clear plans to ensure enough money is allocated to various sectors that can create additional jobs in the country yearly, should they win the presidency.
Hatutaki tena kucheza karata ya pata potea. Ndio sababu hiyo tumetengeneza mpango maalum ambayo tumeweka katika manifesto yetu. Tumeunganisha Wakenya wote, wale wa Western tumesaidiwa na Musalia na Wetangula.
Additionally, the Kenya Kwanza flag bearer highlighted that his government will also prioritize other key economic sectors in efforts to revive the deteriorating economy. Other leaders in Ruto's campaign trail also drummed up support for his presidential bid, claiming the DP is fit to occupy the country's top seat.
And we are saying as Kenya Kwanza, we are going to make sure that we have a hustler fund that will make it possible for ordinary entrepreneurs.
Sisi watu wa Rift Valley hapa tunasema, sisi ni wapenda amani, na kama wakulima tumeingia Kenya Kwanza tukijua ya kwamba bei ya fertilizer itapunguzwa na kwamba bei ya mazao yetu itaenda juu.
On the other side, Kenya Kwanza Deputy Presidential Candidate Rigathi Gachagua popularized the coalition's agendas in Embu County, where he also promised residents that their government will improve small and medium enterprises that will create additional jobs in return. As the pressure to woo more of the electorate piles up towards the ever-nearing polls, Kenya Kwanza Brigade has diverged with an aim to increase their reach, Ruto heading down to the Rift Valley as his running mate Rigathi Gachagua takes on the eastern region of the country. Kevin Omondi, KUTV.
Now, in another report of concern, the National Transport and Safety Authority has suspended all the operations of the 31 Modern Coast buses to conduct a thorough investigation following the Tharaka-Nithi Bridge accident involving the company's buses. Now, Eastern Regional Commissioner Evans Echoki has revealed that the death toll has risen to 33 people.
Number of people confirmed dead after the bus accident at the Nithi River Bridge has risen to 33. The accident occurred just 1 month after the National Transport and Safety Authority (NTSA) reported on the alarming rise of the number of deaths occurring from road accidents. Ever since the devastating crash occurred, tweets complaining about how the same bus was being driven recklessly have emerged, further fanning the flames of people's outrage. According to NTSA, about 2,211 people have died on Kenya's roads between January and June this year, compared to 1,988 who died in the same period in 2021. 608 motorcycle riders died during the same period this year, compared to 569 in 2021. 362 passengers died in the past 6 months, compared to 326 in 2021. According to the police, factors that have contributed to the increase of deaths caused by road accidents are speeding, driving unroadworthy cars, dangerous overtaking, and drunk driving. Presidential candidates William Ruto and Raila Odinga have both given statements expressing condolences to the loved ones of the dead and wishing the injured who are still in hospital a speedy recovery. NTSA has suspended the operations of all 31 Modern Coast buses to conduct thorough investigations into the accident. In a statement released by NTSA's Director General George Njau, NTSA is evaluating the operator's safety operational standards and sent condolences to those who lost loved ones in the accident. Irongo Kagoda, KUTV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Rungo Kagoda, for that report. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has commended the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya for improving the lives of persons living with disabilities. He noted that the NFDK has worked tirelessly by ensuring that the needs of persons with disabilities are catered for both in government and within the society.
President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is also the patron of the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya, NFDK, today in a meeting with members of the Board of Trustees of NFDK, has commended NFDK for improving the lives of persons with disability at State House, Nairobi. Kenyatta noted that members of the NFDK's Board of Trustees, led by their chairperson, Mrs. Christina Pratt, have worked tirelessly in ensuring that the needs of the persons with disabilities are catered for both in government and in the society. The president cited the mainstreaming of the special education needs of persons with disabilities in the country's education policy as one of the achievements of the NFDK, saying that move has enabled more persons with disabilities to excel in their education. During the meeting, the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya Board of Trustees presented to the President their progress report for the last 5 years. Pratt pointed out that through President Kenyatta's patronage, the fund has increased its annual donation to persons with disabilities from 14 million shillings to 350 million shillings. NFDK thanked the President for creating an environment where persons with disabilities access the opportunities to do business with the government through the Access to Government Procurement Opportunities AGPO policy. Caroline Kimwele, KUTV.
Thank you, Kimwele, for that report. And now we take our first break right here on KUTV Primetime News. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more in a moment.
Driving and riding without incidences on the road is such an amazing experience. But do you know while many road traffic crashes are avoidable, human behavior continues to be the leading cause. Speeding, lane indiscipline, drunk driving, distracted driving, failure to wear a helmet, and failure to use available pedestrian ways have been flagged by NTSA as the fatal 6 behaviors likely to lead to a fatal crash and serious injuries. As part of the Usalama Barabarani campaign, we request all road users to prevent these fatal 6 behaviors for their own safety and that of others. When driving, ensure your speed is within the stipulated limits, the road ahead is clear before overtaking. Stick to your lane, keep left unless carefully overtaking. You're well rested if driving on long distances, and you never drink and drive. Usalama Barabarani starts with you. Fika Salama. This message is brought to you by the National Transport and Safety Authority and the European Union.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
The sporting world in general is a lucrative form of industry, and among the money-making games, football tops the charts. To no one's surprise, football is the major league sport in history. Almost every country participates in football to some level, and there are about 4 billion people who say they follow football to some level of degree. It is with no doubt that football eclipses all other sports in the world.
Welcome back to KUTV Prime Time News, and thank you for giving us your valued company. And on Twitter, the hashtag is KUTV News at KUTV_Kenya. Now, moving on forward, the students from various universities across the country are involved in a campaign dubbed Nitatenda Wajibu Wangu. The campaign's targets not only to motivate the young decision makers to take part in the election exercise, but also to sidestep the calls of forces that seek to use them in causing havoc.
Scenes such as these have marred Kenya's past elections, the worst in 2007-2008, when over 1,000 people were killed. Kenya has a history of election-related violence and a lack of accountability for human rights abuse, according to Human Rights Watch. A survey by a Government Unity Commission, Kenya National Cohesion and Integration Commission, shows 6 counties are likely to experience electoral violence. As the next election approaches on August 9th, university students are teaming up to campaign against election violence among their peers through a new peace association.
The same students who have been trained as master campus trainers on voter education are the same people who are leading in terms of championing for peace. So just recently we launched the 47 days of peace, and this one we launched it specifically when we had remained 47 days to the general election. So on a daily basis, we are having peace walk.
And listen, as I raise my voice of hope for peace.
Peace advocates say young people are most vulnerable to exploitation and manipulation to engage in violence, according to Global Peace Foundation. That is especially because so many are unemployed. National government figures show that some 5 million Kenyan youth are out of work.
They are available for recruitment into extremism, and politicians, mainly target these young people because they're the people who, can be misused for as little as 100 shillings.
100 shillings is an equivalent to nearly $1.50 in Kenya. In a peace drive dubbed Nitatenda Wajibu Wangu, meaning I'll do my part in Swahili, students from 75 universities and colleges are committing to casting their vote and encouraging others to do so, including on social media.
If you decide not to go and vote, if you have a vote, you're trying to tell someone else to govern your life and you have given it to them. So the bigger picture is if also you participate in causing violence and not voting, and we don't have classes, we don't have schools, our careers stop, you're going to be affected in one way or another.
The August poll will be Kenya's third election under its new constitution that was promulgated in 2010, and the nationwide Youth Peace Initiative members hope for a calm transition.
A proper initiative by the youth. And now to another intriguing report. Now, before the COVID-19 pandemic, they were just like any other internet user. But now they have made over 50 appearances on television shows and interviews to talk about their talent and works, born and raised in Kenya's Huruma slums. These kids are both helping their families and making a name for themselves. We are talking about the H-Town kids, who are an online sensation, putting a smile on all faces across social media platforms. Our reporter Joyce Mashaya visited them and filed the following tweet.
It is Saturday morning and we find our way to the popular Nairobi's Huruma slum, an area figuratively associated with poor standards of living, with many living on below $1 a day, despite the fact that the neighborhood has for a long time been perceived as one of the criminal hubs in Nairobi County. Youth in Huruma have taken to change the image of the area through talent.
The onset, Your Excellency, hii ni ile nilisoma kule, hiyo ingine. Sawa. Hiyo ingine nilisahau kwa gari ya Minister for Health. Lakini ni sawa.
My interest in Huruma was sparked by a group of kids who became an online sensation during the incursion of the COVID-19 pandemic. They are famously known as the H-Town kids. You may have come across some of their work on social media, mimicking political figures, news personalities, and celebrities. They have attracted the attention of international celebrities, such as Alvaro Mote, who plays the professor in the famous Netflix series La Casa de Papel, or Money Heist.
For Nairobi.
Huruma Town Kids is a group of differently talented kids from Huruma Estate that started in 2019, its purpose being nurturing of talents. The group started with few kids and now they are 23 in number. It has helped in keeping the kids busy and away from the fangs of crime associated with the area.
At first it was just ile tu kujibamba. But the more tunaget watu na to pay attention, ndio sasa tukaanza kufanya tusemeka hizi matrailers.
It's Kenya's most ambitious conservation effort.
We didn't get the tourists to help us to...
Through media interviews, the H-Town kids have gained traction, attracting people in the film industry, many wanting to cast some of them in their production through appearances on talk shows, TV interviews, and adverts. Some of them have been able to help their families meet the cost of school fees and other needs that before their fame was a luxury. Being school-going kids, it is a challenge for them balancing work and school. They are forced at times to be away from school with permission to make a living. Most of the time, such assent is being denied by teachers.
From Saturday, hapo ndio sasa siupatana. Hapo ndio una rehearse, either tunashoot hiyo Saturday ama tuseme hiyo wiki tuseme ni ya kurehearse. Hiyo wiki nyingine ndio ibaki. Itasalia kuna holiday.
This is Intana Njeri, the most familiar face in the group. She has starred in many of their productions and dance videos. We got a chance to see her prep for an upcoming dance video with her crew. She says they have a challenge in sourcing for costumes to do a production, forcing them to improvise, but as they say, necessity is the mother of invention.
Kuna clip mingi zenye tulifanya which nazipendanga. Then kuna hii ad yenye tulifanya hii ya uwezi tucheza, hiyo pia mimi naipendanga. Na pia ya DJ Khalid. Singine unataka kumimiku mtu, lakini hiyo costume ni hard kutafuta, lakini lazima tu improvise.
Maradona this, Maradona that. I thank God for my friends, they got my back.
Davil Mwaura, the eldest in a family of 2, also a familiar face in the group, gives a glimpse of their work before and during a production.
Saturday na Sunday ni unakuja huko kwa, yani huko kwa pale tunakujanga tuna meet tu, unaangalia vitu unafai kushika ushike na unapata hiyo siku yote full, alafu mnaamua kesho mna shoot.
Being a lover of their work, I asked if they could include me in one of their videos. Today they are prepping for a dance video shoot. Despite being what many might call a 2 left feet dancer, I managed to throw some moves. Both Itana and Davil say that this has helped them live life differently and aspire to be great actors, recognized in the global stage, drawing inspiration of Oscar award winner Rupita Nyong'o and Eddie Gadegi, who are putting Kenya in the global map of the big screen.
Nataka kuwa actor deadly huku Kenya. Tunaenda tuna represent Kenya vizuri, tunapiga show kali.
Mtu ajue talent yake, utry kufanya kitu yenye uko capable of.
The kids are a true testament that talent pays. Many more are encouraged to follow their dream. The world will continue inching towards being a better place.
Huruma Estate is mostly associated with crime, but the existence of Huruma Town kids has changed the perception through their talents. The kids aspire to be great artists within and beyond the country. Joyce Masharia, KUTV.
From H-Town with love. Thank you, Joy Masharia, for that interesting report. Our 2-foot-legged dancer. Yeah, very interesting report, in fact, because we get to see that there is a lot of talent within the country, talent that needs an opportunity, and talent which I personally hope will get the opportunity to hit the limits and go even beyond our borders in showing what Kenya has to offer. Now, looking at the COVID-19 stats today 42 people have tested positive for COVID-19 from a sample size of 1,564 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now at 2.7%. The total confirmed positive cases are now at 337,339. 133 people have recovered, bringing the total recoveries now to 330,910. Fortunately, no patients have succumbed to the disease, leaving the total cumulative fatalities at 5,670. Okay, now record drought in the Horn of Africa has seen tens of millions of people facing malnutrition and hunger across Ethiopia, Somalia, and Kenya's northern frontier. An incline in food prices has left aid groups struggling to help affected communities as they head toward a failed rainy season for a 5th straight year.
Even from a distance, the signs of distress are visible. Moving closer, the desperate situation becomes more vivid. On a World Vision organized trip for journalists, VOA witnessed the devastating impact of the ongoing drought in Kenya's northern frontier. With livelihoods diminished, families here have been left to survive on inedible berries known as edung in Turkana.
The drought came and killed all our livestock that we used to depend on. Now we have been left with nothing. All we can eat are these wild berries.
Local Kimat must cook the berries for 3 days to make them edible and reduce their harm to the body. Residents say it gives the children diarrhea, but it helps them survive. The mother provides for her 5 young children because her husband is sick and unable to help. Epakan Ekiru, a 19-year-old mother of 2, lives a few steps away. Her husband left 2 years ago with the herd to look for pasture and water. She's afraid the wild berries will run out.
For now, we're eating these wild berries. If they run out, we'll die. There will be nothing else to eat.
Kenya declared drought a national disaster in September 2021, with nearly 3.5 million people at risk of acute hunger and in need of humanitarian assistance. That includes more than half of the population in Marsabit County, according to government figures. Children and women are the most affected. Officials say sometimes the government's food relief and cash transfers to the most vulnerable are not enough.
I've had cases where people come to the offices, they stay put, even if there is no relief food from the government. You have to go back into your pocket and give them something so that they go back home and buy something to eat.
The soaring food prices resulting from Russia's invasion of Ukraine have affected humanitarian aid operations, making the situation even worse.
In the community we visited, ideally they should be getting 100% of their rations. But by now, because there are pipeline breaks of commodities, because of the shortages created, we could only give them 55% of their food.
For residents of Purapul village, the nearest health center is over 60 kilometers away. Twice a month, the aid group World Vision helps severely malnourished children and pregnant women. Officials say many can no longer afford to make the trip themselves as the drought has claimed their livestock, their only source of income. Drought is not new to this region, but experts say as climate change accelerates the intensity and frequency of drought, and events like Russia's war in Ukraine worsen the problem, many worry the hunger crisis in East Africa will be forgotten.
All right, and with that worrying report concerning the drought situation in the northern part of the country, we take our second break right here on KUTV Primetime News. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more to inform you.
KUTV, in conjunction with Kenyatta University Funeral Home, is now offering death announcements immediately following on news bulletins at 7 p.m. At this sorrowful time, as you share in your grief, allow us to communicate your announcement of your loved one on KUTV in both Kiswahili and English. For more details, kindly inquire at the KU Funeral Home Service Desk or call 0736 928 380 or dial 020 359 9054.
Sasa ni bora zaidi, mwanzo mpya, mambo mapya. Msimu mwingine wa Boresha Kilimo unakuletea teknolojia ibuka, kilimo mseto, uongezaji thamani. Teknolojia dijitali ya mauzo inawezesha ufikiaji wa masoko. Soko moko yako, mahangaiko yako ya kufikia masoko yamefika kikomo, manake tunao Mkulima Yangu.
What Mkulima Yangu does is it connects farmers with the market.
Hii ni Boresha Kilimo kwa ushirikiano na Mkulima Yangu. Atafutaye hachoki na kichoka kesha pata. Kwa makala maalum ya kilimo, ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 6:30 kwenye kipindi ukipendacho Boresha Kilimo.
I'm a freshman in Kenyatta University. This is all what I've heard about campus. Campus is full of freedom.
Ni cumulative.
Mchezo hiyo ili kutoka gani kwani?
I'm a fourth year student, and I mostly hang out at shopping center. I'm a arboretum, and what I'd tell first years is it's never too late to start being serious.
Nothing worth the gain you attain by sudden. Don't you know that I still care for you? I'm needing more and more of you. Not be the one to carry you. Far East, welcome to the empire. Far East, we call it fine true love. You will see what your love has done for me.
Call the academic ignorant and I. But I don't get it, I go live another life. Telling them again, but I'm not in a data vice. Life, I get chance too often. But also with the sadness and invest in a laughing. Time you take a stress, lifetime passing. Tell them so you love them for yourself.
It is time for business. After the inclusion of the Democratic Republic of Congo to the East African Community, Kenyans are now being challenged to tap into DRC's huge market. EAC Secretary says this would open up opportunities for jobs offering and markets for local produce and consequently fighting poverty in the country.
Kenyan manufacturers have been challenged to tap into the huge Democratic Republic of Congo market after its inclusion in the East African Community EAC by becoming innovative and globally competitive. EAC Principal Secretary KUTOSI says industrialists should target to increase their production capacities by doing value addition so as to be able to meet the demand of the 300 million EAC population. Speaking during a tour at Capwell Industries in Thika, the PS says the six-nation EAC market has become huge, opening up new opportunities for manufacturers to trade. He challenged the manufacturers to take advantage of the trade avenues to match exporting giants, given that the new bloc is the fourth largest in the world after India, China and USA population-wise.
We're also looking at various other key instrumental features which include the review of the Common Market Protocol. This will address many of the challenges that private sector to date has witnessed by way of rules of origin.
The PS opined on the need to review the Common Market Protocol to address the challenges that the private sector has witnessed in areas of rules of origin, non-tariff barriers, and the ecosystem of manufacturing. Kenya Association of Manufacturers Chairman Rajan Shah also called on manufacturers to become competitive, look for markets abroad, improve efficiencies, and invest in technology.
We have about 6,000 tariff lines of items that can actually be exported duty-free, quota-free into the US. We only do a handful of about less than 10. So there is a lot of opportunity there.
The establishment of the East African Community Market to DRC is a lucrative opportunity for traders to become innovative and globally competitive. Imbida Masi, KUTV.
The National Treasury will introduce new tax measures to replace the 21 billion it earns annually on minimum taxes if the government loses an appeal against a court ruling that stalled its implementation last year. Parliament introduced the minimum tax at the rate of 1% of the gross turnover, with businesses expected to pay the tax to the KRA once every quarter. However, Justice George Odunga found that the government's plan to impose a minimum tax on corporate sales, even when a company reports losses, is illegal. The minimum tax is based on gross turnover and not gains or profits, and all businesses, even those in loss-making position, are required to pay. Now, among the many sectors that women are edging a space for themselves in the country is the real estate sector. However, the fraction holds a wide girth for growth, with 14% of women accommodated in the sector. Today, we get to take a look at a journey of 3 phenomenal women who are proving that the gender growth among players in the male-dominated sphere is attainable.
Kenya's real estate market has been booming for a decade, with more commercial and residential projects going up in urban centers. But despite the boom, women still face myriad of challenges trying to become property owners and builders.
I've sat in on some international development meetings where even just 2 weeks ago were people that are international donors and international funders talking about affordable housing, and everyone at that table were men. Who's at the table talking about where $8 billion are going to go are all men. Now that's unacceptable.
Despite the challenges, more women are venturing into real estate development and finding success. Leah Wamboi quit her beverage selling business to become a real estate developer. Today, she has built over 200 homes in the Nairobi metropolitan area, though she and other women still face multiple challenges in this male-dominated business.
So you work with a contractor who feels that they should not expect to hear things from a woman, or there is a particular way that we've been doing things and this is how we do things. They think that you probably don't know because you're a woman.
Having built one of the leading construction materials manufacturing companies in Kenya over the past 2 decades, architect Winnie Ngumi understands too well the obstacles women face.
Even today, when I represent the company, say we are seeking a financial facility, we are trying to get a loan, I do face bias. It is almost as if I should have a man with me in the room when I'm negotiating for credit lines for the business.
A networking organization called Women in Real Estate, or WIRE, is working to help.
We have a mentorship program that we take professionals to walk with them over that journey and to just assure them to be there to answer any questions that they might have, even addressing sexual harassment issues that they experience, and to help them to be confident that they can speak out about these issues and that that space is theirs also.
Industry players say it will take time to come out of deeply rooted cultural and traditional beliefs in Kenya and across Africa that make it harder for women to thrive in many sectors. But advocates say women like Robin Emerson, Leah Wamboi, and Winnie Ngumi show that change is coming.
And finally, we go to the southern parts of Africa, where Zimbabwe's central bank has announced plans to sell gold coins in a bid to tame the runaway inflation that has considerably weakened the local currency.
Zimbabwe's central bank says it will start selling gold coins this month. That move is a bid to tame runaway inflation, which has considerably weakened the local currency. The Mosi Otunya coin, named after Victoria Falls, will be available from July 25th in local currency, US dollars and other foreign currencies, said Central Bank Governor John Mangudya. In a statement on Monday, he said the coins would be priced based on the prevailing international price of gold and the cost of production. The coin, containing 1 troy ounce of gold, can be converted into cash and traded locally and internationally, the bank said. Gold coins are used internationally by investors to hedge against inflation and wars. In Zimbabwe, soaring inflation has been piling pressure on a population already struggling with shortages. Annual inflation hit almost 192% in June. That's cast a shadow over President Emmerson Mnangagwa's bid to revitalize the economy and stirred memories of the economic chaos under Robert Mugabe's nearly 4 decades of rule. Zimbabwe abandoned its inflation-ravaged dollar in 2009, opting to use foreign currencies, mostly the US dollar. The local currency was reintroduced in 2019, but quickly lost value. Last week, the South African country more than doubled its interest rates to 200% and outlined plans aimed at boosting confidence to make the US dollar legal tender for the next 5 years.
Okay, and as we close our business segment, we take our third break right on KUTV Primetime News. Stay tuned, we'll be back with the sports news today.
I'm your host, Esther Becky.
And my name is DJ Teros.
We start you off with a word of prayer and get you started with a live transformational worship experience. And have our minds renewed by the word of God on the word segment.
And not forgetting new music za hii wiki, yani ndakuwa bado nawapatia pale wasanii wamekuwa kiwakali. So make sure manzo tune in because zitakuwa zina flow pia pale mixes kwa wingi, yani zitakuwa zina come through, and pia performance yani from our gospel artist hapa on Gospel Arts
from 7 to
10 a.m. only on KUTV.
Ukiwa na dukuduku la michezo, tunafungua sanduku la dukuduku kwa ufahamu zaidi. Kila danadana, mitimpo, mifiatuko na harakati zote ugani, sisi ni wako mwandani. Kukurukakara zote nyanjani, haziwezi kuangaziwa zaidi ya micharazo michezoni. Mimi mwanaspoti wako matata Peter Pinches Mwaora ndakuwa na jopo lenye maarifa sufufu, nikufahamishe na nikuburudishe wewe shabiki shakiki kwa uhakiki na kindakindaki.
Alright, it's now time for the sports news, and we start with a report where the Football Kenya Federation FKF Caretaker Committee has crowned APS Bomet FC as the new National Super League champions for the 2021-2022 season. The law enforcers were declared the new reigning champions in the final day of the season after garnering a record of 71 points from 36 matches. APS Bomet FC is the third team from the South Rift region to qualify for the National League after Brookbond FC and Kericho FC. Brookbond FC joined the league in 1999 after winning Western Zone National Super League and dropped out of the league 3 years later. The Kericho-based team withdrew from the Premier League following the withdrawal of their sponsorship, Brookbond Limited, before the completion of the league.
You see now the boys are very passionate. And look at the fans. Everybody left what they are doing on the other side to come and witness a home team delivering an NSL Cup.
Elsewhere, 12-year-old Belinda Wanjiru and 16-year-old Beju Shah have been crowned the overall winners of the 13th leg of the Safaricom Golf Tour tournament held at the Vetlab Golf Club. The duo capitalized on the home advantage to post 75 and 74 points respectively to claim the tournament's best girl and boy titles. Wanjiru and Shah have participated in the past junior tournaments and managed to lead in their respective group categories. This is the second overall title for Wanjiru after emerging as the best girl in the first leg of the juniors tournament in Nanyuki.
I've played for Kenya and the Kenya team in All Africa Junior Golf competition that was held in Egypt. Overall, as a team, we came fourth out of 11 countries in Africa.
The feeling is unexplainable because I know there are also better players out there. There are players in my category and outside my category that are very tough. So winning this second time is very interesting.
World Rugby has confirmed that the final qualification tournament for Rugby World Cup 2023 will take place at the 7th Stadium in Dubai from the 6th to the 18th of November 2022. Dubai will welcome Hong Kong, Kenya, Portugal and USA for the tournament that will determine the 20th and final qualifier for the Rugby World Cup in 2023 in France, played over 3 match days from the 6th to the 18th of November. The 4 teams will face each other in a round-robin format, with the team accruing the most competition points securing the last place at the France 2023. They will take their place in Pool C alongside Wales, Australia, Fiji and Georgia. And well, that's how we wrap it up this Monday right here at the KUTV Primetime News. My name is EMMANUEL KUTOSI, and in the sign language interpretation, we've been led by Sharon Wamboi. Tomorrow, we have the debate coming up, and be sure to catch it right here on KUTV. We'll be airing it live as the presidential leads, the ones who are looking to clinch the highest seat in the Republic, battle it out, a battle of wits that you don't want to miss right here on KUTV Prime. Have a lovely night.